word, this hydrograph, it is a plot, or you can say it is a graph. It is a plot or it is a graph between discharge and time. Okay, in simple words, it is a graph between discharge and time. Means, for example, if this is a graph, then time will be on x-axis and discharge will be on the y-axis. Discharge will be on the y-axis, and this hydrograph can be plotted as this kind of a curve. Okay, hydrograph can be plotted as this kind of a curve. So hydrograph is nothing but it is a graph, it is a plot between discharge and time. Fine. Now, why this hydrograph is needed? Why a hydrograph is needed? You know that there are many water retaining structures or structures which are made or which are constructed on water. Okay, which can also be called as the marine structures. Water retaining structures like dams, spillways, bridges, culverts, so on and so forth. All these structures, they are either water retaining or they stand on water. Okay, they are either water retaining or they stand on water. Now, before constructing these structures, we need to know the shelf life of these structures. Okay, we need to know the shelf life, or you can say we need to know the design life or the design period of these structures. Okay, we need to know the design period of these structures. Then only we will be able to make these. Now, in order to find out the design life, we need to know the maximum discharge. The maximum discharge of water. Discharge will be of water. The maximum discharge of water that could be encountered throughout these structures. Okay, that could be encountered through these structures. So this maximum discharge is found out by the technique of hydrograph. Okay, this maximum discharge is found out by the technique of hydrograph. So basically, hydrograph is very important to a civil engineer in order to build these structures, these water retaining structures. Okay, and I told you what a hydrograph is. It is a graph between discharge and time. And we can plot it using this curve. Okay, we can plot it using this curve. Now, this hydrograph, there are several factors which affect this hydrograph. Okay, we'll be discussing the factors which affect hydrograph. Now, before discussing that, we will find out the method to determine maximum discharge. Okay, now as I told you, we need to find out the maximum discharge. Then only we can plot the hydrograph. Now there are several methods by which you can determine the maximum discharge. Now in this case, the several methods are, like I have told you before, the rainfall, one of correlation. Rainfall one of correlation. Second is the empirical formulae. Okay, there are some empirical formulas by which also you can find out the maximum discharge rate. Then there is the flood frequency method. There comes the flood frequency method. And the most important method is the hydrograph method. The most important is the hydrograph method, which we are going to look into in today's class. Now, rainfall one of correlation, we know there is a linear equation for that, which is called as R is equal to AP plus B. R is equal to AP plus B. For empirical formulas, we know there were several formulas like the Binny's formula, Barlow's formula, Strange's table, the English formula, then there is the Khoslas method. Okay, all these empirical formulas are there for calculating the maximum discharge. Then there is the flood frequency method. This flood frequency method, we will be discussing it in the another topic. Okay, but today's topic of prime concern is the hydrograph. Today's topic of prime concern is the hydrograph. So now we will move ahead and we will discuss the factors affecting hydrograph. Now, what are the factors affecting hydrograph? Now, as I told you, hydrograph is a plot between discharge versus time. So, the factors which affect hydrograph, they can be plotted into two categories. They can be plotted or they can be divided into two categories. One is the physiographic factors. One is the physiographic factor and the other is the climatic factor. Okay, physiographic factor and the climatic factor. Now under the physiographic factor, there could be several factors like the shape, the size, the slope, the nature, the drainage density, okay, these all factors come under the physiographic factors. Then in the climatic factor, there could be the storm characteristics. The storm characteristics, initial losses, and evapotranspiration. Now we will be discussing this one by one. Now, in the physiographic factors, I have written all these. Now, these shape of what, size of what, slope of what. I have written here shape, size, slope, nature, drainage density. Okay, but these of what? Of the catchment area. Okay, of the catchment area. Now, what is the catchment area? It is the area which is surrounded, or which is the boundary which is surrounded where the rainfall occurs. Okay, where a particular rainfall occurs, that area surrounded by ridge line is known as a catchment. You can see here, this area is known as the ridge line. Okay, and rainfall is occurring in this area. Okay, only in this boundary, this is called as the ridge line. Rainfall is occurring. Now, how this is differentiated? How this catchment is differentiated from the surrounding level? How it is differentiated? This catchment, the elevation of the catchment area will be higher as compared to the surrounding area. Okay, the suppose this is the adjacent area or the surrounding area. So the elevation of the catchment will be higher as compared to the surrounding area. Means you can see it clearly, the ridge line can be seen clearly in case of a catchment. Now when rainfall occurs, it will form into a stream. Okay, ultimately this rainfall will pass into a stream. Okay, and this stream will flow to its maximum limit and it will move out of the catchment. All the water will move out of the catchment. Suppose this is the outlet. Suppose this is the outlet of the catchment. Okay. Now, as the rainfall, as the stream reaches the outlet, we have to find out the maximum discharge. Okay. So we have to find the maximum discharge. You can call it as outlet, or you can call it as a gauging point as well. Okay. It can be called as an outlet, or it can be called as a gauging point also, because this is the point where the maximum discharge is found out. Maximum discharge is calculated. So did you understand how this catchment is differentiated from the adjacent area? The catchment will always be at a higher position, at a higher level than the surrounding area. When rainfall will occur, this rainfall will ultimately pass into the stream. It will ultimately pass into the stream and it will form small tributaries, and this tributary will also ultimately meet the stream. It will ultimately meet the stream and it will reach to the outlet, or you can call it as a gauging point, where we can find the maximum discharge of the particular rainstorm. You can find the maximum discharge of that particular rainstorm. So you can see the physiographic factors are the shape of the catchment. It is the shape of the catchment. Hydrograph is affected by the shape of the catchment also. It is affected by the size of the catchment. Whether the catchment area is small or whether the catchment area is large, it is affected by that. It is affected by the slope of the catchment. Slope controls the runoff volume. Okay, if the slope is higher, the runoff volume will be higher. If the slope is steep, the runoff volume will be steep. If the slope is gentle or if it's fair, then the runoff volume will be slow. Nature means the elevation. Okay, where the elevation of the catchment is, or what is the nature, what is the type of the catchment that is surrounded. Nature, you can say that whether the catchment is formed of forest, whether the catchment is barren land, or what is the nature of the catchment. That all can also affect the hydrograph. Then there is the drainage density. What is drainage density? Drainage density is the total length of all the streams in the catchment divided by the area of the catchment. Okay, it is the total length divided by the area of the catchment. Now, total length means the length of stream plus these tributaries length. All length combined will be the total length, summation L. And A is the area of this drainage portion, area of this drainage basin. Now, catchment can be denoted as, or the synonym for catchment is watershed. drainage basin, or you can call it as simply basin as well. Okay, these all are one and the same thing. These all are one and the same thing. Fine. You can call it catchment, you can call it watershed, drainage basin, or simply basin. All are one and the same thing. So these are the physiographic factors which affect hydrography. Next is the climatic factors. Now the climatic factors can be characterized as storm characteristics, initial losses, and evapotranspiration. Storm characteristics means the rainfall characteristics. Rainfall like the precipitation, the forms of precipitation, what are the characteristics of the rainfall, the temperature in the surrounding area, the humidity, the pressure, okay, the wind velocity, all these come under the storm characteristics. Okay, so it will ultimately affect the hydrography. Next comes the initial losses. Initial losses are those when the rainfall occurs. These rainfall goes into losses in the form of abstraction. Abstractions like infiltration or depression storages. Okay, suppose there is a pond on the ground surface. When the rainfall will occur, there is a depression. When the rainfall will occur, rainfall will fall into the depression. That is known as the depression storage. So this rainfall will be lost in the form of depression storage. Another type of losses are the interception losses. Okay, interception are those when the rainfall occurs, those rainfall will be caught or it will be absorbed by the trees or the vegetal cover. So it will also come under the initial losses. So these initial losses can also affect the hydrograph. Then there is the evapotranspiration. That is evaporation plus transpiration combined. We know that when precipitation occurs, it will not, the precipitated water will not stay on the surface of the earth. It will either get evaporated or it will get transpirated. Okay, that is called as evapotranspiration. So this will also affect the hydrograph. Okay, because if evapotranspiration occurs, then runoff, the volume of runoff will be less. If volume of runoff will be less, then hydrograph will also be less. Because this is actually correlated. Runoff is correlated with hydrograph. Then only we can plot a graph like this. We can plot a graph like this. Okay. So I hope you understood what are the factors which affect hydrograph. Okay. Now, as I told you, this hydrograph is a plot between discharge and time. Discharge here it can be denoted as Q. Discharge can be denoted as Q. And time it can be denoted as T, small t. So, hydrograph is always where you can find out the maximum discharge. So, this discharge is always functional to a time. The discharge is always functional to a time, or you can say it is a function of time. Discharge or the maximum discharge is a function of time. Fine? So these are the factors which affect the hydrograph. Now you can see in this graph, I have not plotted, this graph has not been plotted from the 0th level. It is being plotted from some upper level. You can see it is being plotted from some upper level. Okay, I will draw it again. So you can see here there is a time Q. Here there is a discharge Q, and this is called as the hydrogen. Now here I have not shown it from the 0th level. I have shown it at some height above the 0th level. Now why this is so? This is to encompass the initial losses that has taken place. Okay, the initial losses will convert it into the groundwater flow. It will convert it into the groundwater flow, or you can call it as the base flow. So this portion is considered as the base flow. Now, why this is considered as the base flow? Because when precipitation will happen in a particular catchment area, then when precipitation will start, then only the runoff volume will occur. Now, when precipitation has ended, when the precipitation has finished, then also runoff will take place. Okay, runoff will take place even after precipitation has occurred. Now, when precipitation will happen, that time infiltration and initial losses will also occur. When infiltration happens, the water, the precipitated water, it will seep into the ground. It will seep into the ground surface, inside the ground, and it will ultimately reach the groundwater table. And this groundwater table flow is called as the base flow. This groundwater flow is called as the base flow. This will ultimately reach the stream. This will ultimately reach the stream. It could be possible that after base flow, runoff will start. Runoff means the overland flow. Overland means flowing of the precipitated water over the land surface. Okay, over the surface. So base flow has already occurred. Base flow has already occurred. That is, the groundwater flow has already taken place. Now this base flow has already taken place. That's why after this base flow only the runoff will start. Okay, after the base flow only this runoff will take place. Hence, this is not shown from the zero level. This is actually shown from some level above the base flow. Okay, what's my point? So first here we will indicate the base flow. This is the point from where it is starting. Okay, and this is the point where it is coming to an end. Where the hydrograph or where the maximum discharge has attained and it is coming to an end over here. Okay, so the discharge that has taken place, this can be called as the direct runoff. Okay, this portion is called as the base flow, and this curved portion above the base flow is known as the direct runoff. Because base flow will happen first. First infiltration will happen. Infiltration will happen, then only runoff will happen. When all the initial losses and infiltration conditions are satisfied, then only runoff will take place. Okay. Now for that to occur, base flow has already occurred. After base flow, the direct runoff will start. Okay, hence we have started it from a level above the base flow. Level above the base flow. Now, we have to discuss about the component of hydrograph. Okay, what are the components of a hydrograph? Now, when we discuss about the components of hydrograph, this is the curve of the hydrograph. Okay, this is the curve of the hydrograph. Now, in this curve, this portion, it starts from here Suppose this is point A. Here this is suppose point B. Here there is point C. And here there is point D. And we will denote this as point C because this is the peak of the curve. This is the peak of the curve. So we will denote it as point C. Now you can see when precipitation will happen, base flow will take place, and base flow, after base flow there will be the direct runoff. Now direct runoff will be maximum at this point AB. Okay, at point AB, it will move upwards because runoff is taking place at a higher level. Okay, runoff is taking place at a higher level. Even when rainfall has stopped taking place, water will start to flow on the surface. That is called as direct runoff. So AB is denoted as the rising limb. Okay, AB is denoted as the rising limb. Here, this point B and C, they are known as the points of inflection. They are called as points of inflection. This B and C, they are called as points of inflection. And this BC, curve BC, you can see this curve BC. This curve BC is known as the crest segment. It is known as the crest segment. Now this is called points B and C are called as the crest segment because after point B, the nature of the curve changes, the slope of the curve changes. And after point C, the slope of the curve changes. Hence, points B and C are known as the points of inflection. Okay. Point P is called as the peak. Point P is called as the peak. Or you can say this is the maximum level attained by the hydrograph. This is the maximum level attained by the hydrograph. Okay, I have drawn a catchment. In that catchment, water will, after precipitation, the water will still flow on the land. That is called as direct runoff or surface runoff. Or it can also be called as the overland flow. Now this water will not keep on flowing. Okay, it will ultimately reach to its end. Now, when it will try to reach to its end, it will try to move in a downward position. This hydrograph will try to move in a downward position. So here, this curve CD is known as the falling limb. Falling or recession limb. And this is called as the falling limb or the recession limb. And ultimately it will reach to a zero level. Okay, ultimately it will reach to a zero level. Now here, as I have told you, first there will be base flow, above there will be the direct runoff. So this total discharge will be equal to what? Total discharge will be equal to this direct runoff plus base flow. Direct runoff plus base flow. Okay, now if we have to represent this by uniform rainfall, suppose rainfall is uniform in that particular catchment area. Okay, and we have denoted this rainfall over here. It is having a duration of suppose capital D. The duration of the rainfall is capital D and the rainfall is uniform throughout the catchment. Earlier, how we used to make the rainfall intensity graph with the help of a hydrograph. Like this hydrograph, we used to make a plot between rainfall intensity and time. Here, rainfall is not uniform. For first hour, it has some value. For next hour, it has some value. For some other hours, it has different values. But in this case, we have assumed the rainfall intensity to be uniform throughout the duration of the rainfall. Okay. So duration of rainfall is the from the center till the peak. From the center of this hydrograph till the peak. This length is known as the lag time. This length is known as the lag time. And from point A to point B, from point A to point D, this length is called as the base time. Okay, this length is called as the base time. Fine. So this is the components of hydrograph. A to B is the rising length. B and C are known as the points of inflection because there the nature or the shape of the slope changes. P is called as the peak of the curve. Okay, which is the maximum level attained by the hydrograph. And CD is known as the falling length. CD is known as the falling length. So these are the components of hydrograph. This is very important, the component. This can be asked to you in the university exam, or it can be asked in the competitive exams as well. Okay. So this was a brief introduction to hydrograph. Fine. I hope you understood this topic. In case you have any doubts, you can ask me. Okay, you can comment it in the comment box. Fine.